Well, that was incredibly awkward. If any of you caught that 17-minute live stream I just did unknowingly. It's been permanently deleted, so no one will see it. Oh, my volume works. Okay, good to check. Oh, my I had volume playback so many places. Anyways, it was incredibly awkward because that 17-minute live stream, I was doing some trading and stuff. You know, like stocks and stuff. I'm trying to like put my sweater on, but I'm sitting on it, so of course it's being difficult. Sorry, doggy. Had to roll back because my AC is popping on every now and again, and sometimes I'm cold and sometimes I'm not, and now happens to be one of the sometimes I'm cold moments. And it just sucks because this dress that I'm wearing is a very interesting material that gets stuck to everything, so it takes a while to actually put it on and over the dress. There we go. But I'm back again. The game should load up any second now. Load. There, that took a while. Fixing my collar. Continue. Oh, that was loud. I heard my feedback loud and clear. Oh, shoot. So scary right now. What happened last time? I meant to live stream on Sunday, but that didn't happen, but I will be live streaming next Sunday. Because it's Halloween. God, I can't even remember. Let's see, it was Friday, right? Yeah, okay, so he decided to help Isabella. Marianne gets locked in the basement. Mostly everyone goes to the party. Blah, blah, blah happens. Oh, yeah, that's right. We went through Saturday, too. It's now Sunday. He decided to go with Isabella. They got more paperwork and stuff. We found out that his friend, the professor, his wife died, and he blames the Wrights because their bakery burned down when they were asked to be bought out by the Wrights. And then they go and they get a bunch of papers from her job to see who's been missing or dead yet because of this ghost after they went to the mansion. And they died many times. If you want to see me failing at QTEs, please go watch the last live stream, part 9. That was terrible. And they had a cute moment because she admitted her dad died, and he was like, well, it's okay, you're a strong, independent lady, and blah, 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 blah. And he stopped short of saying, I love you. Because of course he did. Anyways. Definitely can hear me, right? Okay. YouTube likes to yell at me about my volume. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Do I sound like Ashton yet? Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. I can't keep that up this whole time. Soft footballs echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me apart from one. Again, I said this, but I didn't finish it. Background noise is my AC. It'll turn on and off this entire time. There is only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes. I just started playing. I didn't need her to laugh in my ear this early in the day. I sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me, and the ground trembles. The world slows to a stop, and he wakes up. Wait, why are we in Isabella's room? We went back home with Isabella? They're the couple I'm shipping for the most. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors. She needs to clean up her place. Come on, it's been like a week, and it's still the same mess. That underwear has been in that corner for over a freaking week, and it's still there. How disgusting is that underwear? I just gotta know. Nevertheless, all the clothes she's got everywhere, too. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams from the open windows when the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She's hunched, I thought she said she's 100. I was like, damn. Hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head while she continues to rest. Then into the chaos of papers and folders that we left scattered over it before sleep claimed both of us. We've bunkered down here last night, after both of our nerves had calmed, and mine for the most part. Staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that woman. It's a ghost? Say it right, God. Is she still one in the first place? One that we normally call a human? She's not, she's dead. Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
If you got breaking and entering, then I'm pretty sure you get tortured by the rights, which is why you should be glad Isabella's alive, plus you like her. Not that thinking about that still matters, considering our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous, and if we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing Daisy soon. That's a TV show! And an old saying where you push daisies up because you died and you fertilize the ground so you help the daisies grow above you. Get it? Pushing daisies. Can't let that happen. Is that a British saying? Because he's Japanese-American. Maybe that's why. He's American? I don't know when he came to England. Maybe his parents met in England and they came from America and Japan. Interesting. I've dallied on this long enough and left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Yeah, you jerk. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. At this, the light against my hand when I reach it. It has caught my eye the night before, but with the lot we still need to go through, I've simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned? Emblazoned? I would have just said the logo at the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
What? Oh, that's so good! And she gave up going to college 5 years ago. Oh, that's actually so cool that she could get a scholarship grant. I've only ever heard about her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She really goes about it in great deal, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It's been 5 years after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversations between her and Zach to know she's never given up. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. Yes, she is, finally. As silly as this may sound coming from a friend, I'd like to give her a chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring out what the deal with this curse is, I'll do so, if only to see that same smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moment she seems to show it is when she's asleep, like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. A smile of my own forms despite this when I glance at her sleeping form again. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You wouldn't think she'd had any problems this way.
If only that were true.
I'm still surprised. After 5 years, her work is still so good that this different college that she didn't go to in the first place has offered her a scholarship. That's actually really good. Yeah, she had her last college was in Singapore. No. She's from the Philippines, was in the Philippines. Yeah, and then she came here for money. Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it carefully so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself out of my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her off the floor and over to her bed, but doesn't wake, simply tucks herself comfortably under the cover as I pull over her. Briefly, though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Ashton's being dumb again.
She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after, like it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movement earlier, but the small smile on her lips remain. I find myself returning in kind.
Like a rock now.
It's better this way, better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about her problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing I don't want to take away from her, a moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it after everything she's been put through, what I've put her through. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. At least Rebecca's right next door, that's easy. The cold Luxborn air meets me upon stepping out of the hallway. Not unusual in itself, this is what Luxborn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold and damp for the most part, and more often than not terribly drab with an occasional sprinkle of rain every few hours. The sky's clear, but give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. Okay, yeah, so his dad... I think it was his dad is from America and his mom is from Japan, so they must have been here and then they stayed here and they had him. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world where I can no longer think the same situation we're in. A nightmare, that's probably all this is. Usually I'll say I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've told myself, isn't it? And I fed myself a great deal of lies throughout the years, just so that I wouldn't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness.
Fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
No one knows anything about ghosts. Ghosts are ghosts. What does Zach? What does Rebecca? Z-Man has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening around him this past few days. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me, the guy who knows stuff, according to him? In the end, all I've done is given him the brush off, some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer and a way out of this. They really need to just have a group friend meeting, and it's Sunday, so why not today? Also, is Mary Ann still locked in the goddamn dungeon of that house? Because, like, someone should get Mary Ann out. That's a little bad. And real quick, checking this. 1 and 2. Forgot to go back to here. Okay. What can any of us do when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however, that thing is after us because of the letter. Actually, because of everything, but I think it'd still be after them, even... Well, no. Actually, yes. I'm trying to think. I feel like the letter is just another thing. Like, just a coincidence. I feel like it's just the house, and, like, anyone who goes to the house gets tortured / haunted by this ghost regardless. That's what I feel like it is, and the letter's just like they're blaming it on the letter. Because from what I know, the letter was written by the lady of the house who tortured the ghost who's now dead. So technically the ghost didn't even make it. So I feel like the letter is just like a coincidence. Because Zach, Rebecca, Isabella, and Zach all went to the house first before they started seeing things. Ash went to the house on Friday and didn't start seeing things until Friday, even though he saw the letter with everyone else a couple of weeks back. Actually, no, he was at the house with Isabella, so he should have been seeing things. I don't know. There goes that theory. Yet here I am, walking up to Becca's door, one slow step at a time, a stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in better order. How to phrase this when there's 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. And it's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. We'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. My dog's walking around, kind of scaring me. He's just looking out the door to the porch. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking, once, twice, and 3 times just to be sure she's heard me, even if she's asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
It's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by, no answer, and dread started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. Oh, I think she's at the library already. Looking things up. Yeah. And Ash gave her a voicemail. Okay, good. That's what's going to happen. Got it. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and the next minute concern is mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up. I know your
girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy.
Thank you, random neighbor.
So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
That's Luke Wright's voice actor. You can tell that he's forcing himself to be a deeper voice. That's hilarious. My hand pauses short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbor peeks through this door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole, too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day. Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh. Did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks.
Filipina girl? It's definitely Luke Wright's voice actor.
Oh, what am I, her keeper? You know, some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down.
I mean, yeah.
Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Is Git a word in British. Because it's not English. An unpleasant or contemptible person. Definitely from England, because that's not something we'd say ever in the U.S.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams the door shut, without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words at me. Probably thinks I won't hear him outside of the four walls of his apartment. At the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so, but at least she's not alone. She should be safe in theory. She wasn't, though. She got attacked by the ghost in the library hall. More so, the person she's meeting with is who I'm thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there without deliberating it on my own actions first. There's Zach, too, to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate, and it's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early, any other reason I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls my judgment. Something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. I was about to say, can I click? I'll call the chief. Who the heck is Abigail and why doesn't she have a photo? Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up at the group with only Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella's numbers listed. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with throughout the years. Colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go, but these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, which is hilarious because she gets angry at everyone. I wouldn't call her patient, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day these guys are just there, next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment or something as simply as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can't help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her, and she isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but that's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad, if only to know that she's fine. A ring in the silence of the hallway. Its sound alone might as well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes, or 2, 3, but when on the 9th ring it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Gale's here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now.
She's in the library being attacked by a ghost.
Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Of course. I'm probably just busy, that's all, though I barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
ASAP. Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. She's not, though. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Rebecca will see my missed call, and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me. Oh, that's a cute little flashback. Rebecca looks just like Kylie, but with terrible glasses. She's been my friend for the longest. Anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me no matter what or how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabella now too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had awful moments as a bratty kid and a horrible teen. Issues, I've had too many of them to count and refused to deal with them for a time. At least that's what Andrew likes to tell me, and I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years thanks to the professor mostly, but at times I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back on it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school and neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was wondering why me. And in retrospect, I was a selfish little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. I mean, all kids are, but okay. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believe my behavior was entitled and that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me, snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees a chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless, and I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail. Then on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand, that guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it, and doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. And today, Zach is actually at the mansion, I think. Because he was looking for Ash and assumed Ash was staking out the mansion. If Isabella was dead, Ash would have been at the mansion. So maybe they would have ran into each other? I don't know. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy, make sure he's doing okay, at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking for is to not be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail, at least.
Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
You know, I think I would have I would have given him a key faster before he lockpicked into my house the first time. Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he forgot to charge it. Can't be. The guy's a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I'm a cop. He's the type who has extra battery or power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him, and Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile is an out-of-range area, sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. Even if he didn't believe it, he definitely was the first to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up in trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to... Well, I can't be rash. I'm aware of that. Been running through the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction will be pretty. The added guilt from those times I've repeatedly dismissed him will surely
Yo,
haunt
Zach,
me.
call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
I like how he called him Zach and not Z-Man this time. It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself
If
look
anything,
good.
he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Yeah, but he also has his own issues, too. Zach's the one who puts up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of cool cop who helped out a minority. In truth, I was hard-headed, hot-tempered, and a reckless rookie up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden or some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him, and he tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impression went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Beck and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach? He's probably the closest thing I'd call to a best friend, though it's more than that. A camaraderie. Ah, no words can express. These words, I can hear it in my head, but I can't actually say it. You know what I mean? It's so difficult to say it. I am just checking on my notifications, 'cause I always get a ton of notifications whenever I live stream. It seems to be my life. Let's stand up straight. Camaraderie. What? Commandeer. I don't know. He has my back and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Oh, he got a brother. He's being so cute. Maybe now he'll stop ignoring his emotions for everyone and he'll just talk to everyone like he should have been his entire life, but no. Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone, no specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continue dialing for his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the 3rd attempt with no one answering, I stop and move to cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
Yep. Most of this game is a waiting game. I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Now you know how they felt this whole week as they've tried to contact you whenever. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting to now, actually, with the anxious strings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. And that's exactly when the line finally connects. Before he even speaks, my question has already slipped out, including every pent-up worry and tension in my body.
Where are you?
The line's choppy, though I can still make out the words he's saying. Nothing to worry about. He's just someplace where network coverage is shitty. Can't imagine where he is at this time in the morning, though. Did he go out for a jog?
Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now.
God damn, he's been outside for like an hour?
What kind of shithole did you get into?
I've meant to just sound as friendly as possible to keep things light at least. Instead, only frustration shows in my
Good
tone.
morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
I mean, yeah, how many mansions do they know about?
Why are you even...
Please don't tell me that's his plan. A morning visit to the mansion where Luke is. Of all the pig-headed things to do right now, it's the best thing he can come up with. Breaking and entering. He didn't, though. I made sure he didn't. I've got plenty of reasons to rail at him right now, although no matter how much I want to give him a piece of my mind, unfortunately, it's not the time.
No, wait. Just get your ass to Isabella's place, and hurry.
He pauses a moment, a second of indecision while he seems to contemplate his options.
How urgent is this?
In truth, the question, the hesitance, and the indecision in his voice has caught me completely off guard, and understanding dawns on me. His decision to go there isn't one born out of stupid impulse. He must have found something. However, no matter how urgent it is, he still shouldn't have gone there, alone at that. Despite myself, in that split second of comprehension, I allow it to show. A weakness, a simple request brimming with every unease and disquiet causing turmoil within me since last night. It bears a selfish hope that he'll understand, even though the unstable signal that whatever's keeping him there, he'll be willing to set aside for
Pressing
now.
enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach.
Silence fills the other end of the line again. For a long moment, I assume he won't heed it, and I'll have to drive there myself just to drag him away from whatever danger he's skirting. Thankfully, he agrees.
An hour or 2 tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
Relief washes over me as soon as the call ends. Normally, I don't let myself a moment of respite in times like this. Gotta stay alert. Rebecca's still out there and has yet to return any of my messages, but for the moment, I relish in it. This is probably the first time I've permitted myself to do since last night. Even the muscles in my shoulders have been complaining from all the tension I've taken on. It still annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxbourne and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big of a place for one person to go searching for only 2 people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair of either of them. With one last hopeful glance towards the open skies, I slip back into Isabella's apartment and close the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part, more so when it's the people you care about.
You're up early. I thought you left.
Don't give me question marks. We know it's Isabella. This is literally her apartment. Don't give me question marks. Where are we? Where are we? Oh my god, I'm not even that far. I was like, oh, look at all these story options I'm getting. What is this? What is this? Death. Yes, I clearly hit that game over there. Story update. Are we about to get into another conversation with Rebecca? Because I need to get my relationship up with her. Like, this needs to be up higher. Higher and higher. Make them go kissy kissy. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, a motherfucking ladle. A ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after the 3 of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner and lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way, healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone, and Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me, I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident that nearly caught her apartment on fire. Easier times, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy, a strange fit with all the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose? Isabella doesn't follow up her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short
I've checked
answer.
with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her if the timing for a joke isn't off, or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either, there's no reason to yet. Until Zach gets here, or until an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction. She's like, sit, boy.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts, the ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them so I don't have to think. One by one, they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on, so many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC doesn't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Don't question mark, we know it's Isabella. Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca, Zach,
It's all
Isabella.
depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I've bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease on her eyebrow grows deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad
Sorry,
news.
I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. The next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first, before I've gotten the chance to take in what she has just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting, despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'd eat on a rainy day. Though, from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it and milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she's already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer and simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. I mean, people from different countries have different tastes. Maybe her mom used to make this all the time. She's not watching, however, just listening. As background noise, the voice from it seems too cheerful, a welcome distraction, if anything. If only after she's finished off half the bowl she acknowledge the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then close, a hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words and considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the
You should
open.
eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we haven't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
That's it. She doesn't want to say what it is. You want to explain the meal you made? She returns her food afterwards while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands and tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate it, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca's both out there, and who knows when that ghost will show up again. Even in our dreams we're not safe, but that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at the present we have a chance at respite. Maybe the only one we'll have, even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us quietly, just seating side by side like this without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that'll probably go as far back as the second she offered the food. Still, in the end, Isabella never pushes it, rather she lets her own silence convey her hope. Save. Why does this even take her offer? Always take her offer. Always accept free food. It makes people happy when they've cooked for you. Like, it's so rude for her to not. For him to not. Her to not. Yes. Take her offer. Yes. So I'm guessing this is like take her offer or not. And this is if they had a good relationship or bad. Good relationship or bad. I'm guessing how this all breaks down. I feel like that's got to be the way that it makes sense. We're almost there. The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips that we've shared. Yet she accepts them with a smile and nothing more, regardless of everything left unsaid, and the sight of it brings comfort, more so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence as we finish our food, there's ease in it, in this, in the muffled sound of Luxborn filtering into the room, and the light streaming from her window, and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils of her hair, and the way her voice falters when she tries to form words, and despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute's pause, and words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day he'll eventually.
And the fact that he wasn't eating is bad. She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from Lux U.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
She does have that, and she does need to take it.
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open. Right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I placed it earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it.
Seriously, just do both. And you don't have to, do full classes unless the scholarship demands that, but I doubt it, if she already has partial credit from another university.
And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too.
You have me. I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden too heavy to impose upon her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. And it'll be selfish of me to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say it nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all.
You have us.
Us. Me! He says us. He means me! The words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology up in my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner as she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. However, I hope we get a flashback of that day. I don't get the chance to figure out what it's all meant for her. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment just as fast, and both of our attention shifts to the source. Well, is that going to be Zach or Rebecca? The porridge. It's cute. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process. Actually, I needed to look at the branching tree. Yeah. So I wonder what he would have said here.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Maybe he just doesn't say you have us, if their relationship's lower. Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I fling the door open, a whole chunk of the stone that had just been stuck in the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised and ready for another knock. Although he's not the most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. Because he rode his bike here, so yeah, I'd be tired too. The second his feet crosses the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When he finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look once he has a hint of panic
You said
in
it
it.
was urgent.
Yes.
Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
You don't see Bella?
Everyone's fine.
Maybe.
Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet.
Yeah.
But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zach.
I was about to say,
Morning.
it's her own apartment. His weight shifts at the same time, and there's a stiff line in his shoulder eases once Isabella walks on up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then and returns her greeting in kind. As soon as he has let out the breath he has been holding and the tension's finally off his body.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
Which is hilarious because Zach was looking for Ashton, so shut up. My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Anselm alone for some godforsaken reason warrants a proper one. Ghost or not, he's already been given a warning, and it frustrates me to no end that this might be the plan he had mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah Wright. Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might be after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece. By some dumb luck, he's all right, and this takes one of the list of people off I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in the exact minute, there might have been a chance he wouldn't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. My question is, does the ghost haunt people one at a time? Like, can she only be haunting one person before she goes to another, or can she be in multiple people at a time? Like, different places? I don't know. I'm in love with Zachary. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little plan, we've had so many close calls within a single night. Zach showing up at Isabella's doorstep alive, whole, and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly, the whole room feels too heavy, and all I am able to do is drop down to the couch. A headache makes more sense than headaches. Also threatens to burst in the same moment, or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like, sometimes. Regardless, I reach up my hand and pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it'll likely do nothing to alleviate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there. We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there.
Stupid.
You just walked up inside a private property. Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
Uh-huh.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are.
He was lucky Luke just told him to leave, like, honestly.
I know you're not very fond of the Wrights, but they don't deserve it if something bad happens.
He's right.
Hannah most of all.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried.
Unexpectedly, he laughs. Not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one. Before my annoyance grows again, I snap at him, though, and he suddenly catches me in a headlock. His arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckles against my skull. What is he? I know he's taller, like a lot taller, but you really gonna give him a knuckle, like, sandwich noogie thingy right now? Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're against a 6-footer. Yeah.
Zach!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
Well, I mean, he said you're okay, so clearly.
Go!
He relents soon enough, though only after he's done ample damage to my hair, and I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up, and everything felt like how it used to be before this whole mess began. Makes me appreciate little moments like this easier.
Seriously, Zach. Why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry. I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me to a silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Partly this is my fault for keeping things vague. Yeah, I can't berate him for assuming that when I've only left him with vague
You could have
answers.
called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You kidding, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was at it the whole night.
Yeah, well, some shit happened last night, so the whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head. Then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The eyes just went, oh. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation like my word can't be trusted. Not that I'm holding it against him. It's true. Your word can't be trusted. You've been very annoying with this entire time. I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet, has been like that for quite some time, and she looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all of the flashes fleetingly across her face before it melts away under an expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that. Abruptly, my phone rings again, blaring its badly sang ringtone throughout the whole room. Both of them pauses waiting when I pull it up to check the ID.
I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can.
Without another word, I slip out of the room to answer the call, however. The tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
I just ran away from a ghost? Ragged and out of breath, like there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from the side of the line makes it seem like she has just had to run a marathon.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library. Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeaker and step back into the apartment. I held out the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease
Rebecca's
them.
asking for you two.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we're having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye and then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. ... Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here, and the second she steps into the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Safe and
Ashton
sound.
checked on you this morning, but
He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burned to her crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. She almost was. Girl, she tried really hard. That's a cute little picture. Such a cute little picture. How's our branching tree doing? Oh, this is interesting. Oh my god, and we're in this middle. Okay. Rebecca alive. I see. Story update. This would have been if Rebecca's dead. Because we would have had the phone call. We would have had to go see. Because Ash would have wanted to go see. Whole alive, although she seems to be a bit shaken. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax and ease the pressure of my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction the younger woman doesn't even catch. It sets a precedent for the careful observation, nevertheless. A closer look at her reveals a much more disheveled than usual. Hair a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry, too. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it really gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has, noticeably once Isabella leads her into the room. It all sprouts a hatful hateful, of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. No. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. She seems like it at first glance, but can't be sure until we've had a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising, at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabella to a halt. Both of them turn to me at almost the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased, or for the fact that someone brought it to light. Saving.
You okay? You're limping.
As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's enough force she almost stumbles back if Zach hadn't caught her. Even with 2 more people shooting her concerned look, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Oh my god, just say the truth at this point. Everyone knows. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabella doesn't buy any of it either.
Library?
Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly its grip on the limb. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a glance at everyone in the room, but only the ones she spares for Isabella lingers longer, and in that moment something unspoken passes between them, an understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since the day the movie house and every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment, then after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Got any ice?
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you.
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Belle, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that?
Well, she's a ghost, so not a person.
Oh, it makes my blood boil.
Everyone, so scared. We're so scared of the ghost. Rebecca's like, I hate this ghost. I'm gonna kill it again.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
But she did.
Laugh
And it
it up,
worked.
Ashton, I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book,
Yep.
I would be dead by now.
It worked. Books, am I right? Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dead. Another close call. Another would have. Another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? It's very similar to the whole Final Destination thing where you avoid the one death you were supposed to have and suddenly death just follows you everywhere and keeps tormenting you until you die. Feels a lot like that. We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found the letter, and I expected her to cave in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm.
Good.
You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
We're dating now. We're married now. We're your new mom and dad. No, I'm kidding. That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress, she promised we get straight down to business to defeat the Huns. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room, although there's some tense fumbling for words at first. The whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman in his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out of even the bravest of us, everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be, logic be damned. Or at least that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Wow. All night, huh? Yet even in the cold morning light, shifts to the warm hues of the late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. That didn't make any sense, a sentence either. Also, poor Marianne is still in that basement. It's pretty accurate, yeah. How we doing? How we doing, bros? I'm not even halfway. This is insanity. Wait, I need to look at the journal. We only have 2 more days? Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. This is insane. I have so much shit gonna happen in these 2 days. Darkness has fallen. Darkness has fallen. But we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smack the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent, along with its release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this
We
morning.
aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's a nothing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little bit of optimism right now, I guess.
No, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man.
I mean, it was. Shut up, Ash.
Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to be including them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? Yeah, but the send it to 5 people thing isn't actually real. How does this thing even work?
They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Shouldn't we look into the mansion too? That's where the letter came from. That's where she came from. Maybe it's just as the professor says.
He did tell me there might be more to this than what I might be thinking.
Yeah. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
But don't teachers always lie to us? I mean, that's kind of their job.
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Yes, it's true. Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrow with each line it passes, but lingers at the illustration of a noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Fair question. Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seems to seep through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this.
Pretty far back.
This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would they tell a completely different story? Revising what was written seems to be a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. But this might as well mean that what happened in the mansion years ago also equates into all of this. And the letter Isabella found? It's at the heart of it. Then the why and the how is what we're missing here. If I'm going to go by what Andrew told Zach, and the connection between the letter and the mansion's curse may run deeper than what we've initially thought, we won't be able to figure this out without looking into the other. Fuck. How do I... The mansion's a private property. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks on my back after several hours of sitting, and we've been at this for too long. Break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it in my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. Oh boy, we about to run out of this room. Let's go for a break, guys. The ghost is like, yeah, break time, let's play. Holy crap, I'm gonna have a big jump here. This is gonna happen. And this is gonna jump, jump, jump. Jump around. And then it connects back down here. And I'm still gonna jump around. Holy crap, I'm still going? Until here. That's a huge jump in story. Ugh. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the three of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun. Why would you shoot a ghost? However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the four of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked, they waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella's unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, and a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles. I'm trying to see if it actually is rattling, but it's not. As if something inside begs for freedom, just like what she did in the school with the blockers. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. You cannot shoot a ghost. Why would that work? I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. Thank you. But right now, it's a smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger. It provides the closest thing I have to relief as soon as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I agree with Isabella.
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they may have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door louder and louder and louder and louder, and the longer I dally. Saving. Another shallow breath. I glance at my companions, a nod. Something creaks. Then in the next moments, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal nothing. I don't like this at all. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still nothing. No ghost, no woman. Not a single trace of whatever or whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up with my head's making up now. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. And the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. Everyone, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. What a bitch. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, and the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose, nauseating, sickening. A foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Hi! You gotta be underneath it? Really? Perhaps it's just an experience. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, my whole body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's the manner her gaze bores at me, I'll say. It's the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can't reason with. And I know the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in and then and there.
Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. Within a span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading everyone out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them. In a short while, I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fades into the night. ... Monday! Because it's the morning. Journal entry. That was a really cool scene. Are you just gonna show the closet? Fine. Be like that. Dreary downpour starts off Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, the dark clouds lift just after the sun peaks over the horizon. That fountain looks like it's not staying in the fountain. It looks like it's actually gonna spray everyone walking near it. Brief as it is, the rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week, an arrest gone wrong or another investigation leading to a dead end or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gouged out his own eyeball and almost ate it. Oh my god, did he get on some bath salts or something? What was a few chews away from swallowing it? He had it in his mouth? Lost my dinner that
Fun
day.
times.
I don't blame him. Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by the damn chain letter of all things. This sort of stupid thing people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you and just puts the icing on the cake. So far, all we've done is run and snoop about and read stuff and run again, and it frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Yeah, now we're down here. Maybe you'll hit the halfway point today. I don't know. Even my car reflects the state of my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface, scattered all over the place, spilling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago, and I haven't slept at all, and my last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me not to take better care of myself and say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting and about how I reek and how I need a shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Her bony digits wound tightly around my ankle and that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory is enough to send a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From my dashboard, sunlight glints off of Ophelia's surface. Normally, I keep it in a hidden compartment. Luxborn police regulations only allow authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. And I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for its use, and when the standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their backs. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid had its uses too. On a ghost, though, all of this would probably yield the same result. They're all useless. I might as well just use a stick. Just poke at the ghost with a fucking stick. However, the feeling of ease, but Rebecca was able to hit her with a book. Maybe it'll just distract her enough. Feeling of ease I'm after, and what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness that I at least have something to protect myself with in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take off the edge, though. The feeling that your whole body's been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. As stretch is still in order, though, and I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out of my car, closing it behind me, and with a thud I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has ever been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxburn normal in the distance. Beyond the buildings lining the horizon, dark clouds are blowing in.
Storm might be due this evening, give or take.
A shame for the people looking forward to Halloween tonight. Oh yeah, it is Halloween. I'm just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale and exhale, breathing it in, taking the peace as if it'll be my last. But as with all good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them, Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. I was wondering where they were. Glad they went to get food. After last night's flight from Salem, well, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted a second, or a fitful one. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just a group of friends on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks, something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter and Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in life and death situation the way that they're acting now. If anything, only their appearance that betrays that mask. Yeah, they're all kind of dirty, right? Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it, and Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts up from the bag when I open it, carried further by passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over the pork wananabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables appear to be appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. The rest of them appear to be the same of mine, too. Soon enough, they all start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking and weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. In a matter of minutes, we're done in dumping the empty cartons in a nearby waste bin, along with its shift in mood. Back to Dismal, back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We've never had the chance, always busy on some project or work, the things we'd taken for granted, now that we're realizing how valuable they are. The world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I would like to look forward to. If we ever free ourselves from the damn curse, I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we'd have to focus back on the present, this. Dead people, the letter, the curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
That's a great question, Isabella. Look at all these stories. Look at these. What are these extra ones for? If we had bad relationships with people, maybe? Or if they were dead? Bruh. Oh! Oh! I got one of the easier ones because everyone's alive. So is this if everyone's dead at this point? This is one person's dead, 2 people are dead, 3 people are dead. Alright, so we're going down, and then we meet here. I'm skipping big chunks, man. I'm making waves, finally. It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look at me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so back when I was at the top of my game, and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we've had enough kindling to get the fire burning. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire. Now we're fighting? Oh my god, people.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
Her voice sounds weird.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice.
That's better.
We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter. You were...
Oh my god.
Too
Oh my
gullible
god.
to pick up,
Oh my
you and
god.
to everyone.
What the hell, Becca? What the hell?
Do it on purpose.
What if it's just because she went into the house? Did you ever think about that, Rebecca?
Becca, had I known...
Oh my god.
Had I known, I wouldn't have...
And it was Ash's fault. He pulled it out of her purse even though she said no. He was the
you
dick.
too. None of us want to die to this.
Yeah.
Just calm down. We ain't getting anywhere shouting at each other.
Whose side are you on, Zachary?
Oh my god, Becca, shut the fuck up.
No one's. We can't just say it's her fault.
Yeah.
She did warn us not to open it. And
Yes.
Both you and Ashton.
That doesn't exempt her from any blame.
Oh my god,
She's
Becca.
still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
Thank you.
I didn't say that. Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I tried to warn all of you.
Sleep
None of you
deprived,
listened.
anger.
Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
Sorry, my dog's sneezing.
So now, you're throwing it back at us.
Oh, again,
We
it's weird.
wouldn't even be having this problem if you're...
Will you two cut it out? This ain't the place for I don't know, petty squabbles.
I appreciate how tall Zach is. He really looks looming over the other people. I wanted a real quick look at the journal. How tall is he? 5'2", 6 foot even, 5'5", 5'5". Yeah, he's really tall compared to all of them. It's really cool looking.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Zachary.
Oh no, Zach. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already...
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
Her too?
All right, that's enough.
Thank you, Ashton.
Everyone, shut up.
They all falter to silence at my words with an awkward, stifling mood descends between us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, or to add to that kindling. Not in the moment when anytime, anywhere, she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are playing the blame game. Actually, only Rebecca's playing the blame game, to be fair, so... Little by little, we're falling apart, caving into pressure in the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did the ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us, rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all of this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming in my own mouth, that out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more their forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to
We
cope?
all want to get out of this mess in one piece. We're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Go shove them in the fountain! Throw them all in the fountain! Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame that on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I'm angry at. The ghost? Them? Or maybe myself for being useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit, they're still counting on me. In spite of my failures of every harsh word I've uttered or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's the concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in the silence, a heavy gift in their unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even though my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In the city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. That was a cute little picture, even though I was so angry. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is our best bet for now. It really is. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. Might as well just throw ourselves at the ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music playing by drunkards grates the ears. The whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's the very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe, or as safe as it can be with G security watching the place. Makes it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by the person I've implicitly placed my trust in provides some semblance of comfort, too. Gregor, the bartender G, or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges. Sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of the city. If there's anyone at the place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanor, cares to some extent for people he likely only sees once or twice a week on a bad day. Not the best job in the world, in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine, there's truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down, and whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies right out the window after a few glasses. Fair. Yeah. It has made him observant, too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me, opinionated ass. Wait, is he calling himself an opinionated ass? Because I agree. But also G does feel like an opinionated ass. But I'm just looking at the names of these on the right. Like, we have the Crawl Bar, then Mrs. Flowers, and Sir Antiques, and then Sleepy Sheep Inn. Those are some basic names, honestly. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help when I met with a dead end or a case that I'm in trouble. Ugh. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of the shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything, and the next thing we know, he's leading us in. No questions asked. Maybe it's also for the reason why I find myself drifting towards the station hours later after having gotten that much-needed shut-eye. Did they sleep in the bar? It's possible. I mean, I kind of would. I'd probably just go over to that booth over there. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, likely prepping it for tonight's use. It's so funny that he's called G, because every time I read G, I just think of Grian from, like, Hermitcraft and stuff, because they call him G all the damn time, so I'm just like, Grian? It's weird. Briefly, he glances up at me once I claim one of the empty stools and grab a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow, turning it absent-mindedly in my palm just to keep my hands occupied while my brain's busy, still trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it, regardless of how many times I've made the trip or sat here on the same spot just talking with an old man. I've never been fond of drinking in the first place, yet oddly, it's the nasty odor of a brewery that helps clear the mind at this time, along with the lack of establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Although it's clear from the way his mouth is curved up in a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of it, and he's wisely kept it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat. Going through the motions with such familiarity, it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, and with those thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? Especially if my assumptions are correct and that the reason Zach was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to need to visit the place that morning. What if the couple has fallen victim to the curse too? It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. Thank you for finally acknowledging that. You've been biased as hell against the rights. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and fuck.
Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking detective I am.
And Isabella can confirm that they definitely saw the letter, so there's that. That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry and get there right away, and if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all the fucking mess started. Is Marianne still trapped in the goddamn dungeon? Because this poor girl is gonna be dead. It's not only my life on the line here, there are others. What happened to us I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all of this has suddenly become. The letter, the woman, the mansion, and now there are voices lacing venom inside every crevice in my head, murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever the opportunity presents itself. Is this the ghost fucking with him?
All your fault.
It feels like the ghost.
Why won't you believe me?
Oh, that's a good line, actually. Why didn't you believe her? Reminder of what I've failed to do and who I failed. At some point, they all begin to blur together, twinning and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
There, boy.
No, I'm not, G. His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. He looks just like the inspector, the detective, the chief. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, although his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does not let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He always has a knack for reading people, after all, even someone who can be as closed off or as distant like me. And all the time I've spent in the force, there's only one other person who's been as keen as this old guy, the chief. It looks like the chief. Funny and weird to some degree. What if they're twins? Or what if this is the chief undercover? Because we're mentioning how they look alike. He's got to be undercover. He's got to be the chief. He even has the same voice. He's got to be the chief. Or a twin. But he's got to be the chief and connected, which is why he's working at the bar, because Luke comes here all the damn time. I've pointed out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. I've never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clear it's something he doesn't want to talk about. Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare down pat. Under his wordless scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
Looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face, still a clear picture in my head, no.
I heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case.
How much of a case is there really? It just sounds like they had to write some reports about what they found.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits.
I mean, yeah, you could blame it that he was drunk.
Sends them right out the door after I start with the description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed that case. The one from 10 years ago with your professor friend.
How does he know about that? I've been with Ashton this entire time since they closed the case. He never talked to G this entire time.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G.
Oh.
No one has been able to. It just went cold.
He's referring to the original case from 10 years ago, not the one he just got kicked off.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining.
He's so undercover.
Make sure they get home safe afterwards.
I think I like the chief now, but I'm pretty sure he's undercover here. Fairly certain.
Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Hell yeah! No, I'm kidding. You can't. Really, I can use some right now, something to numb the senses. But when has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
How much did he drink, or is he that much of a lightweight?
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
When I put my mind... No one can put their mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
If he is the chief, then he'll be like, yeah, I heard her voice before. Because he was in the house with the party.
You know that mansion down at Anslum?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
There's so many options, so little time.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there unmoving. His hand stops short of placing glass he's been wiping prior back into the rack to his left. All the while, he stares at me with his eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. He probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Or maybe this is just desperation creeping in, the idea that I might not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
A prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt like the whole time we made fun of her that day.
A prank. I saw something.
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare, and the only way out might be death. And like I've expected, G's reaction to it, an amused laughter. It booms through the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay.
You wouldn't get it.
Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a scowl or a glare. Nothing but a taste in my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, all right, good luck with that. Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head and lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones that remain are smaller kind used for shots and stemmed cocktails. Despite being busy with the task, his amusement does not entirely disappear. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains. But we both know it's more than that. If the wistful expression on him says anything.
Can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago.
Damn.
Too smart for his own good, that boy. Has always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
Must have screwed up a lot for things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stop calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, You're sure of who that badge and gun is for? What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels from both of us as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful but not completely unwelcome. Familiar, though before I can clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away to begin his work on the silverwares. He'll need those too once more of his patrons come in for lunch. Slow and easy, a sharp contrast with the strained air we've been wading through these past weeks. A fleeting moment, but one I allow myself to relish, if only because of its absence lately. The way things are now, it's almost a gift. So when all it ends and the loud shuffling of foot from the adjacent hallway, a sigh is all that leaves me. There is no need for me to look up and know who it is. Zach's treads alone are telling. There is always a weighted set to them, steps that are taken with lazy cadence. Like he's always trying to make himself smaller, less conspicuous than he actually is. In a place he's unfamiliar with, he also tends to linger, stand awkwardly at the sides, as if he's too afraid to break something. That or he's awaiting permission of some kind. Either way, he's never been the kind to barrel headfirst into things or forgo courtesy despite appearances. Much like how Rebecca's mother henning bellies, her fiery temperament, or Isabella's rare displays of maturity appear at odds with her youth. There has been a lot of those in my life, it seems, more so from people I've grown closer to over the years. Walking contradictions we all are. It's a wonder how we ended up as friends in the first place. But maybe that's exactly why, to some extent, there's still an understanding in there, knowing that no matter how long you've been together, or how familiar you are with a person's habits, or how many lifetimes there might be for all of you, one can never fully know a person. Sometimes it works because they merely choose to stay. Sometimes it's as simple as someone extending a hand first for an apology, regardless of every hurtful word said.
Hey, Ash?
You gonna apologize because you guys are crazy? This time I glance at him, briefly gauging the mood. Not because reconciliations are an issue between us, it never will be. But somehow this is another thing I'm all too afraid to see crumble. One wrong word and this is going to end in another argument. We might as well stop as early as now. There's another long pause from him, during which he can't seem to figure out what to do with his hand. In the end, he chooses to stuff both into his pockets and trains his eyes at the now empty space behind the counter. With our nod, G has slipped back to the kitchen, leaving only the two of us and everything awkward in the world in that moment. Still, Zach trudges on, a hopeful tone slipping into his voice, simply because it's the only thing he knows how to do.
Did you get any sleep?
It's a start, at least. A stiff one, but a start. The least I can offer in return is that rare honesty.
For a few hours, yeah.
Curt, brisk? Not an ounce of friendliness in it. In spite of it, Zach takes it as a sigh, and relief washes over him and his shoulders relax as it releases his tense breath. I'm just double checking. Text messages from my pharmacy. Soon he's closing the distance he has put between us and flops onto the chair on my right.
The question is if the dreams are pleasant. And for the record, no.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get those a lot.
He shifts in his seat, coughs, drums his fingers on the counter for a short while, then falls silent. That's it, no apologies. Somehow that short exchange is all we need. The air changes again, much like everything we've known lately. Maybe not for the better, not yet. However, it's left suffocating with less hostility and resentment. The kind where it's easy to pretend and easy to forget. Not that it's a thing that'll happen anytime soon, but one can dream. In a situation where death might come knocking at any time, it's these little hope that we cling to. It's these little things we wish will happen again. I'm not an optimistic person by nature, hopeful maybe, but never optimistic. Though I want to believe there's a way we'll all live through this nightmare. It's just funny how it took all of this to spur these kinds of thoughts in me. I can't even remember the last time something like this has occurred to me. For some reason, after seeing one harrowing thing after another, I've simply forgotten.
Why are you suddenly smiling like that?
Huh? Oh, no, I was just thinking about something.
Isabella? No, I'm kidding.
Well, it better be something that'll get us out of this mess.
Maybe.
What makes you think I know how to fix this? Until 2 days ago, I didn't even believe a word you guys have been telling me. Zach, I function better when I'm dealing with homicide cases. Hell, feel free to throw in the usual robbery and missing persons case into the mix. I don't care. Give me a few days and I'll give you a lead. This isn't how I operate. This isn't what I'm good at.
I'm not a ghost hunter. This isn't phasmophobia.
For all you know,
even though there's
I might
4
even
of
end up
us.
getting us killed. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, the fact that you're frustrated but still trying already means something, Ash. Besides, you don't make that face unless you already have an idea. It can't be any worse than this. Maybe. What's on your mind, Ash?
There really is something about Z-Man. Between Rebecca and him, I tend to share things with him I normally wouldn't say to the other. Unlike her, who pushes, sometimes with the same tenacity as her moods, Zach has his strange tendency to ease people into telling him what he wants to know. Oftentimes the question feels so subtle, it catches me off guard with less force and more forbearance. After all, out of everyone, he's the most grounded. Really, he's like the older brother I never had, the kind you can depend on when things go sour. The kind you can tell things to simply because he'll listen without forcing his own opinions on you.
We still have one more lead we haven't checked. I'm gonna look into it tonight.
Halloween night, of course. It doesn't take him long to put two and two together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolved to worry the second he realizes what I meant. We've already examined the letter, read the piles of documents. There's really only one thing we haven't given a once-over, the mansion. Of course, Zach may not be the kind to push, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady and on my feet through the years.
Didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright?
You're an unarmed civilian, Zach.
And so?
So, I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe.
Everyone needs to go with
Probably
him.
won't take too long, but I don't know what might happen. I'm not even sure if I'll find something in there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out, no questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything.
He's not willing to concede, not from the manner he grips his knees or the rigid he set his jaw.
I'm going with you.
Yeah.
You can't go in there alone, Ash. I heard something. The morning I was there, I heard someone scream, and then there was a woman crying, and I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I am telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone.
They should all just go. Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of those times, again, where Zach means well, but he's completely missing the point. When things have taken a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabella. I went up more, but I'm already maxed out. I need to max these out. Come on, guys. Actually, I don't care about Rebecca, but Isabella, come on. Did I miss an opportunity or mess something up somewhere? I agree with him and take him with me, or I agree with him and drop the idea. Neither appeals more than the other, especially when we're all desperate for answers. If all it'll take is a little more honesty to make him drop his harebrained idea,
Look,
so
man.
be it.
Bro. Z-Man.
Bro.
Zach. Zachary, listen.
How many times did he have to say his damn name? Bro.
I know you only want to help.
Like hell! This ain't just about helping, Ashton! You're throwing yourself in the thick of it, on your own!
I mean, he's not wrong.
Last night really that bad? Did you hit your head hard? I honestly can't tell if you've gone stupid or just plain suicidal.
He's right.
My head's okay, Zach.
I agree with Zach
But it
here.
won't stay that way if we don't do anything about this. Someone has to.
Seriously, this is already a desperate move. The longer we dally, the faster we're losing our options. Do we even have one? Looking back at it, this whole business with the ghost seems perfectly set up to drive us into a corner, either until we lose our mind or she gets us. It's starting to feel as if there isn't an escape, and we've already become her playthings the second Isabella found that letter. That our lives are in her hands ticks me off big time, but the idea of watching the people I care about die helplessly, more so. They're much safer here than with me. It's a selfish thought, I know, born out of fear. So in case things go awry, the very last thing I want to happen is for Zach to take the fall with me. I've already made enough mistakes.
That means it's just you.
Just me.
Suddenly he clams up. Although his actions, the restless shift in his shoulders, his mouth pressing close in a tight line, and how he starts off again in a quiet tone, it all gives away his real thoughts long before 2 words have even made it out of his mouth.
I'm sure you already know about this. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. There'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed. I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
He is stupid enough to get himself killed. Another dead air follows at its heels at that one emission, the meaning of my words too heavy, too striking, and it stuns us into another lull. Optimism aside, we're both aware that's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after, and there will be the images, the voices whispering inside our heads, the foreboding feeling. The stench of blood, gore, and death trailing after us. We may survive this, but those things, they'll remain in us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without it leaving something in you. Just the mere thought of what might come after makes me dread it. What this has changed all of us. But I suppose the outcome is more acceptable, the lesser of two evils. My head snaps up and I turn to him, puzzled. He's staring at his hands with a thoughtful expression, brows furrowed and a deep concentration, like he's trying to choose the right words to convey what he's about to
3
say.
hours? For what?
That's more than enough time to go there, to check things. Like you said, travel back here. If you don't show up here beyond that, I'm going after you.
From his tone, it almost sounds like a warning. I'm sure it's not his intention. But hearing something like that from a person like Zach, I can't help but chuckle and throw in a jibe, despite how dire things are. Just like old times.
What? You said you're just gonna check things. Why would you even need that long?
Speed limit? I'm a ranked law enforcement officer, Zach. I'm supposed to set an example.
I so wanna punch you right now.
Punch his shoulder, it's fine. Of course, Zach never carries it out. In light moments like this, it's just how he is and how we are. Unfortunately, G chooses the next moment to show up. He slams the flat of his palm on the counter and shooting us both a stern look. Although his tone is nothing short of jovial, the disapproval is clear in it. He's obviously misunderstanding the situation.
Boys, Thomas nice and all. I used to watch these bloody god-awful afternoon serials with one of my brothers many, many years ago. But listen, I am not having one in my pub, all right? You two want to fight? Go out.
A pregnant, pause, pregnant. Then without any preamble, Zach and I both snickering at G's glower melts into confusion. When we both show no sign of stopping, he simply shakes his head and turns away. I like to think it's better this way, better that we part on light terms, so Zach won't have to see every little insecurity and every little doubt in me right now. He's seen enough, and the last thing I want him to glimpse is another display of weakness. Not when he still stares at me with the same unerring confidence in his eyes. When our mirth dies down, before anything can be said further, before I change my mind, I step away from them. Giving Zach's shoulder a quick few pats, mumbling a lame excuse about taking another short nap, altogether burying the stray thought that flashes fleetingly in my head. Zach has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of that matter now? What the fuck just happened? Did I really just go to sleep? That's cute. So I guess he's got a place to sleep upstairs. I'm guessing that's where we're sleeping and stuff. The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into conscious and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He always has complained about the lack of decent crowd on the week start, although he really doesn't begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover, after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Wrong, G?
He hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by a primary school teacher for sleeping in class.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Rebecca? Another question forms in my head with a small, confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irate voice rings out from some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there.
But we don't have any other choice, Becca! There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just...
Isabella, no.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or both giving the other silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad blood from this morning would simply blow over after all of us had had a decent rest. I should have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zach and I. Turns out sleep isn't what just some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. Nervous edge lingers in his eyes, and and it occasionally flickers over to where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zachary meddling, but what the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's
You know
working.
how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing.
That's very fair statements. I went right down the middle here. Very common route story update. Holy crap, I've gotten places. I'm getting places. I'm gonna have to make a decision soon. Rebecca or Isabella? My answer is always Isabella. There's another decision there too. Is that the Isabella route? Do I get more time with her and go what?
Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw
God.
two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving and doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's, but part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for the people he's barely even known. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret. And I know both of them will. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other's childlike demeanor, it's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. The dramatic music. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in an almost deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. I can't speak for Isabella. I rarely ever see her seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up at the redhead from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled on the corner of the table they occupy, and a conversation that turns sour sometime after late lunch then. Good thing they're already done and nothing's left to be spilled. Because in the next moment, before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table, sends the silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily, we both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering the face in Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this let a ghost everything.
You're blaming me again!
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess.
You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you! If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish.
I'm the one who's selfish.
I believe so.
Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it.
I'm tired of Rebecca.
Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
Jesus.
You know why I had to come here. My dad.
She doesn't even know.
Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Holy crap, Becca! Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something that moment Rebecca slammed the flat of her hand on the table or the second I entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of it digging a wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering, a strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break until the ones at the center do so. Rebecca definitely won't, and at some point in our friendship she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabella, on the other hand, there's always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it's what's gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling on to what they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless, kind of awareness that almost is second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly abruptly stands and marches towards the exit in fast, rigid steps, away from the hurt and painful words they've let fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in the last moment, and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. Surprise flits across her face, and an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them had noticed me. I'm definitely gonna pick my girl. Hopefully our relationship sides.
You okay?
Oh God, our relationship may not survive anymore. So much for having them be a good relationship by the end. But yes, I'm gonna actually get Isabella. God damn. I mean, Rebecca's just rude though, honestly. Rather than answer once her shock subsides, she merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks, like she only noticed them in that moment. Then, without a word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out in a ragged exhale. Same thing that Ashton does with the pinching of the bridge of the nose. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things, though, and my disapproval must be clear enough on my face. When she finally glances back to me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth curving down into a tight frown. I cross my arms in response, waiting, a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything yet, not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare at each other down, and eventually she breathes out again and relaxes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash?
Nothing. I wanted you two to stop fighting. Smack that bitch, Isabella. Just saying. Just saying. I want to look at the tree. Yes. Isabella. Isabella versus her. Forget her. So I get another decision here. Is it because I'm talking to Rebecca right now? Can I repair the relationship just a little bit so we're right at the line? Please?
If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
She's such a whiny little girl. Like, if she literally can't control literally everything in her life, she gets so annoying. She was born to be a rich, spoiled brat, but she's definitely not rich.
Did you really have to say it like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants? I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. Even for you.
Mm-hmm.
We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do was stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly. I know you mean well and you do have a point.
Mm-hmm.
But please be a little more thoughtful next time.
She just gets angry without second thought.
Think about it for a while.
By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least it's how it seems when a minute or two passes and she says nothing, a rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes. When that quickly disappears, only a vague notion of it remains in memory. But in that one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years, we will never be the same person we once were. And if that's for the better, we've yet to know. A lull has descended in the main lounge once I return. G's nowhere to be seen, and people continue to trickle out instead of in, and by the time I get back, only 2 tables remain occupied. Soon these people too will be gone, and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entirely different vibe. Along with soothing strum of strings and the steady beat of drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from the times I've been here before, and perhaps it's the reason why Isabella chose this place to retreat. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, in one of the tables set right beside the windows. G usually keeps the curtains closed around this hour, but in a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy streets outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pooling on the surface of the table where both of her arms and feet. In her hands, she flips the folded paper, turning it from one side to another without any purpose. If the kids added that send this to 5 people or else, how did they get it so well to match the rest of the... Although the E doesn't match the actual E. Neither does the L actually, so no, they don't actually match. A small frown creases on her forehead while she stares at it, yet there's something oddly tranquil in the picture she's unknowingly painted. Something I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. It's one of those moments again, the rare ones, the ones where she's still too quiet, a complete opposite of her usual self, but it's these that I often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short few seconds of wordless silence, when the softest sighs and the slightest movements sing louder. The smallest minuscule things that tell you about the person and her strength more than words can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. She glares at me annoyed, and just like that all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by the teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to, what's easy, what's familiar, where every truth we hope to convey regrettably goes unsaid between us.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe. Who wouldn't be? While I do agree with Rebecca, her words hit below the belt. Regardless, Isabella doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me, at least compared to every other person I've aggravated, intentional or otherwise. With some light talk might just do the trick to coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to OG a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
She levels a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now, she needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
I don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online. Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet it sounds half-hearted at best, like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her, and all that's left are the words. Pretty soon, those two will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's already unusual to see her like this. Everything has already gone to shit, and I'd like at least this one thing to stay normal. So somehow we continue for the better half of an hour, talking, joking with her, short, feeble responses and banter that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amidst the chaos and death shadowing over us, it's these little inconsequential moments that matter. It's her smile and her laughter. When it finally rings, it's easy and free of her burdens.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
A pause. And then she frowns as realization slowly dawns on her. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before eventually settling in on a grimace. Suddenly, she hugs her arms closer to herself and looks away, perhaps in her best attempt to stay angry. It's who. She said it. Who. She said who, so she's the owl. Get it? Do you get the joke? Do you get the joke? To no avail. In a matter of seconds, her shoulders shake with laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful, and I really hate you. Just leave.
It's contagious, her mirth. Soon I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us, laughing without reservation or care until only a familiar warmth lingers, once both of our amusement ebbs away. Somehow with her, these things have always come easy.
Better?
A little. You're still lame.
But you're laughing right now.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked. That would have been really messy and ugly.
If glares can kill, with the ones she sends my way, I'd probably be dead by now. Seeing it directed my way only takes only a quick few seconds for me to realize how she might have also taken my statement. How wrong and rude it might have sounded in her ears, however unintentional it is. I've never been good with words, but it's never an acceptable excuse, is it? No, it's not. You should be smarter about how you're talking. You're fucking 29. You should be smarter by now. Suddenly, taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? God, crap. Damn it, that was so not what I meant. I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
That's a lovely line. Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified like a brewing storm. And the face of it, utter and sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, I do what any person with good sense of self-preservation does. Keep my mouth shut and shift my attention elsewhere. The crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should... She utters all of it with a voice too small and too quiet. But when I turn to her, only those words, her gratitude, resonate throughout the whole room. Not the soft clinking of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into the silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her gaze, as she holds mine that lingers, steady, unflinching, and open, in the same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then, how easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve, how she never shies away from expressing herself, even among people she barely knows, how she can go through everything without losing herself, and now it's among the hundreds of thousands that hang unspoken between us, trivial little things with worth still too big. That's a weird sentence to put into words. Either because it's too early or because there's never really a proper time. For now, though, this'll do. Until the moment itself dwindles. Until reality pulls us back, reminding us of the things that we've set aside in its
Isabella,
favor.
About what happened with Rebecca earlier.
I should probably apologize to Becca. I know she only means well. And I said some really bad things.
I feel like this friendship group would be a hell of a lot better if Becca either calmed her tits or just moved on with her life. The corners of her mouth quirks up, almost as if she's too ashamed of the things she said.
Don't worry. She can be pretty stubborn, but she'll listen. Especially to you.
You think?
Because Zach won't be with us anymore.
That was not at all what just happened. What the fuck was that line? This game glitched so badly. He said, "You're one of the few people she likes," but it sounded like Zach was dead, but Zach's not dead yet.
She won't stay angry for long.
That was weird. She has a point, though. Isabella freezes in an instant. The pleasant air around us dissipates. She shifts her attention back to her hands again, both clenched so tightly that her knuckles visibly pale.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there. That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need. I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not that I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have. But Rebecca also has a point that I always agree with, no matter how desperate I am. It's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there? If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone, exactly as I have told Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'll be doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree to this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just going to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Saving.
Forget it, Belle. You're not going back to that mansion.
It went down. Oh, shoot. That was bad. That was a lot more aggressive than I thought it would be.
I can't let you do that, Belle.
That was a big difference. So I could have sided with Rebecca in that instance, and I probably still could have upped Isabella. But Rebecca's so mean. I don't care about her.
Ash, the people living in that place now, they were with me during the open house. They have to know.
Mm-hmm.
They're in as much trouble as we are.
This is true.
No, but it's risky. It's dangerous. You don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it. To put yourself in harm's way like that.
She offers no response, not even a form of resistance, no further argument like I've come to expect from her. Uncharacteristic, just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows heavy. In front of her, her hands still stays curled up, like holding on to everything she's ever wishes to say but can't. I'd like to think that yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma is clear in her. Otherwise her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it, or her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument if she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod, an acquiescence. Acquiescence? I know. She gave up. And in that moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, taking her clenched fists in mine and drawing them closer to me. She sucks a breath, soft and sharp, but doesn't say anything, merely watching as both of my hands cradle hers. Cautious and mindful, as if it's the most precious thing I've held. Then again, maybe it is, along with everything I've yet to convey.
Stop that.
Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields, allows a touch that is far too familiar and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently, I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Her nails have already created small dents on her skin from how tightly she has held it close. A little more and she would have drawn blood. I've actually done that before. I've had my hands so, like, curled in that I have drawn a little bit of blood and had big-ass, like, bruise going on. Deep as it is, smoothing a thumb over the tiny marks does nothing. But it's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst this chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens and the lines of her shoulders ease, and it's only after her lips curve up in a faint smile that I let go, giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her and admit that it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do, though? I've already told Zach one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. It's the best that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I stand up as soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look and then shifts a nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eye. Their fights never did last long.
Can we talk? Alone?
Alone. Rebecca likes Isabella! No, I'm kidding. Her interruption could not have come sooner than I'm more than glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like mine with Zach. I'm the outsider. They don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering an excuse and flashing Isabella a quick, knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over. Before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory. One that spurs the conscience among other things, among us. I just hope I won't regret it, what I've chosen for myself tonight. Galway's Shaw Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight, with lively music and chatter slipping out, mostly unseen, becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble soon, though, I find myself standing outside under the chilly Luxbourne night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of impending rain. I'll give it an hour or two before it starts. From the looks of it, though, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material closer to my body while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry towards my car. I've nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need the damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm going to give myself to get this done. 3 if I'm inclined to go by Z-Man's set, but when have I ever? Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. So I hurry, one foot over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up in the last second. It's practically a universal rule, and it does. In the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Oh. I was like, it's the ghost again. I don't want the ghost right now. But it's friggin' Rebecca. She gonna be like, wow. And I'll be like, I don't like you like that. Rebecca turns just as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wire smile. She offers no greeting except the slight tilt of her head. How did she finish talking with Isabella and then come out here? Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky when I come up and stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows and she breathes out a sigh, very thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arms close to herself to keep warm, which raises the question of why she's out here. The air is already heavy with the promise of rain. With clouds obscuring the view, there's really nothing left to look at but a dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands there, as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That, or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word and express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you, wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight.
He's got another girlfriend. That's obviously what's gonna happen. Wait, why am I back at the beginning? Bruh. Don't make me go back to the beginning. Wait, what was this? Just this random commoner out here? Yeah. And now we're here. There's a lot of ways this can go. Lord have mercy on my soul.
I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Hi, baby's up. Kinda, but she should get up. Sorry, the husband came home. I'm gonna have to stop soon. Oh my god, I'm trying to turn off the baby camera. There we go.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon.
I wanted to look at whatever this was. Oh, that's a cute little picture. Poo poo shush!
It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice. Even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know that? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If it falls, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have, and after this, we have nothing else to get off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try, but, you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. And it made me realize plenty of things.
No, Luke made you realize plenty of things.
Myself, about us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly, a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless times before, and every time I see it on her, it usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or even something embarrassing I said from childhood. Unlike me, who would much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. And after a short bout of silence, when she smiles, I know this is one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh, no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course. I'll defend her. Of course I'll defend her. If no one else is going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are it would have escalated, and who knows, maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond random notification. Nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is this time I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash, I've always been in love with you.
Well, that's it with their relationship, I'm assuming. She says it so plainly, holding my gaze with a voice too frank, and her admission stuns me into silence, like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought, as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
That time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Why'd she sound like she was about to cry but then stopped? Afterwards, there is relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders after so long. She closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back at me, though, there's nothing but hope in them. Eyes that are searching for an answer. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for words. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking for me. Yeah, you can't. It's not gonna happen. Is this based on our relationship? That sucks. Well, I already know which way that's gonna go. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up with each other. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold her for her feelings that goes beyond boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she stuck with me even through the toughest moments. Even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing
Rebecca,
more.
I
draw in breath, ragged and unsure, uncertain with which words to put together so it'll hurt her less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. Though before I can even string two phrases together, she lifts a hand to my mouth and silences me. A smile is on her face, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her. It suits her more than the glares or the frowns. But at the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
You don't have to answer me.
Good, I don't want to.
Yeah, but you should... I should...
No, I mean, you don't need to.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca. Because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. You don't need to answer me. I don't really need to hear it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. Believe me, if I were the same person I was before this whole thing happened to us, I'd be elated. Excited, even.
But Luke got to me.
But, like I said...
Told me I was crazy.
I also realized some things. Understood myself more. Ash, I did love you. Ever since we were kids, all those times you defended me from bullies. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Even after this. But at the end of the day, once you take a closer look at everything, it also turned me into a really selfish person.
Yeah, it did.
When you think about it, maybe the Ashton I loved isn't the one standing in front of me right now.
No, because you both changed so much.
Maybe all this time,
yeah,
I'm still clinging on to that aloof kid I met 17 years ago.
Yep.
I didn't even consider that you have a mind of your own.
Which is dumb.
And one day, it won't just be the two of us.
She's been really dumb about this.
You'll find someone else, and it won't be me.
I'm sorry, Becca.
I'm not even sure what I'm apologizing for, that I can't return her feelings, or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for this, even though up until now I had no idea how she felt. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know. So I can finally let this whole thing go.
You better.
One question though. Are you going to tell her?
Tell what to who?
Oh my god, Ashton, you're so dumb. I paused, frowning, a brief moment of doubt while I try to figure out what she's talking about all of a sudden. When it finally sinks in, though, my bewilderment hastily gives way to utter embarrassment.
Oh, shit.
Heat abruptly crawls up my face, no matter my efforts to keep it down. In the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what else she'll see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
Was it that obvious?
Yes.
It was surprisingly easy to tell. But that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Even Zach could tell.
Who else knows?
I think Zach suspects.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost
I'm
painful
almost done.
to watch. Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs, loud, the kind that's free of any burden, ringing above the wind, slowly picking up the storm clouds' approach. With it, however, the awkward atmosphere lifts at last, and there's only that camaraderie we've shared since meeting in the classroom 17 years ago.
I'm serious, though. Tell her.
I mean,
and
yeah.
If you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Noted, ma'am.
Noted.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do.
Why do you just keep calling it things to do? You know he's gonna go to the mansion. You're not that
Just
dumb.
promise me you'll be careful, all right?
Exactly. She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push, and with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawares by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for purchase against my car's trunk, bracing my hand on its smooth surface. When I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, Rebecca's already halfway through the parking lot. There's a small skip in her step, while the breeze carries a light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. It sounds like the new beginning more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. And I gotta stop there. Yeah, I do. What's this new thing that popped up here? This was cute. I'm glad she's moving on. She was really weirdly obsessed. I agree with everything Luke told her. Glad she snapped out. I really hope I can maybe get their relationship to that line so that they're still decent friends in the epilogue or whatever, but I don't know if that'll happen. But I'll be back again tomorrow, probably at the same time, 3 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully I don't have a weird mistake live stream that goes live when I'm not doing anything for 17 minutes. Let's pretend like that never happened today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you then. Until then, bye guys!